Attention is like the sexiest thing in the entire world. So I have my girlfriend. She finally decided she wanted to get serious about dating, and she started dating this guy. And she kept writing things to me like, he's such a gentleman. I just wish he would be a beast. And she was trying to make it work, and she kept saying, he's just so nice. He's so nice. Like, which means he's just so polite. No butterflies.
Hey, I'm Jen, host of the Open Bedroom podcast, where you'll find topics of sex, dating, relationships, non-monogamy, and more. I'm glad you're here. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Open Bedroom podcast. I'm your host, Jen, and today I have on Marni, the founder of the Wing Girl Method, host of Ask Women podcast, and the designer of the F Formula. Marni is an award-winning female dating coach for men ages 25 to 85 at every stage of the dating and relationship journey. Marni has spent the last decade helping hundreds of thousands of men stop being Mr. Nice Guy and start being Mr. Holy Shit, I Want Him. With over 500 podcasts, 50 digital programs, 150 million YouTube viewers, and 1.3 million subscribers on her channel, Marni, your personal wing girl, she is known for her blunt, no-fluff approach and honest insider tips and tools and advice on what women actually want versus what they say they want. Marni,
Yes.
today we're going to talk about this nice guy mask. Men think if I'm nice, if I'm this nice guy, women are going to want me. They're going to want to date me. They're going to want to marry me. Maybe that's what they want. Maybe they're just going to let them fuck them. I'm not sure. But I think that maybe this isn't true. And I know that you are the wing girl. Like, guys come to you for advice. They know you're going to be honest, probably brutally honest with them, and they're going to tell you what they want. And I just wanted to kick this off really fast by saying I'm currently listening to this audiobook by Katie Robert. And what I love about Katie Robert is that she takes these Disney princess concepts that we're all kind of indoctrinated with as we're little girls growing up about the nice, handsome prince that comes and saves us and puts us in a castle and gives us all the money and we live happily ever after. But she twists them. And so there's kink and like yummy BDSM.
I love it.
And I'm listening to this one called Wicked Pursuit that's Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf. And it's not told from like a children's point of view, but like there's all this.
Especially not with that voice that you're sharing.
Oh my God. She just got auctioned off and like he's having his way with her. And I'm in like chapter 12 right now. But what I'm trying to say is I think we actually don't want the good guy. So,
well, there's two different words.
on?
There's nice and there's good. So when people say nice guy, I always put air quotes around it because they're not really saying you're so nice. You're saying you're a big freaking wimp that doesn't get me excited and doesn't turn me on in any way possible because I can't feel you. I can't tell you're a sexual being and you're not expressing it to me in any way. You're just being nice, which means monotone, boring, not expressing anything to me that I can latch onto. So it's not really nice guys versus good guys. Women want a good guy. We want a very good guy. My husband is one of the goodest, right? The best guys that I know, but he has a backbone. He knows how to handle me in the bedroom, and he knows how to tell me no, express his opinion, be sexual, flirt with me, slap my ass, like do all of those things. And in my world, when we're talking about a nice guy, nice guys would not be able to do that because they would be prim and proper. They would be respectful. They wouldn't combat us. They wouldn't attempt to ruffle feathers, even in a fun way. They would want to present themselves as being the perfect example of a gentleman, as a great boyfriend. And silently in the back of their mind, many of them think that if I'm this nice, I'm going to get what I want back from the person that I'm being this nice to. So nice and good are very different, very, very different. And nice is not what women want. And it's not even what men want to be. I believe many of them are trained to be nice. And many of them also think that if they are nice, they'll get what they want, which is attraction and attention from the women that they're desiring.
Oh my God. I feel like we need to take like 20 steps back.
Yeah.
And like really zoom out on this. So
Yeah.
obviously we're talking to guys today, sounds like. Um,
Yeah. No, we can
when
talk to women too, because I think it's really important for women to also hear this
okay,
conversation.
okay.
Yeah.
When does this start? Does this start from
First,
our mothers? From for
yes.
men in particular?
For any female influence. So I have had different experts come on and talk about the nice guy. I've done a podcast with Robert Glover and had him come on and speak to my men's circles, and he's the one who's really dove deep into the research about the nice guy to figure out where it comes from. And I'm not going to say that it comes specifically from a mother, but it comes from female influence at a young stage, right? It's either a mom who's saying, just sit there and be quiet, or don't rock the boat with me because you won't get what you want. Just sit there in silence, right? Or I'm shaming you for being any type of personality that bothers me in some way, whatever it is that is starting with the mother. Or it's a female teacher that they interacted with who told them that their fidgety behavior in class is not acceptable or something's wrong with them, or if they're speaking out or if they're acting like boys or men, that it's not appropriate. And some men listen to that and some men don't listen to that. But the nice guys do tend to listen to it. And again, quieten up so that they can get the results of you're being a good boy and I'm going to give you a good grade. Or for some of the men, it's also from interactions that they had with girls who they had crushes on, who they asked out or they tried to get attention from, and they horribly rejected them in some way.
Mm.
Right. So there's a lot, it's female influence on many of these men, but most of it is deep rooted in shame of who they are. Shame that if they show their true personality, they express their opinions, they show any type of sexual desire or even sexuality, the fact that they are men, that is going to be punished in some way. So they zip their lips, they sit quietly, and they try to be prim and proper and do the right thing, thinking it's going to get them what they want.
Mm. This is so
Yeah.
interesting. So I was raised, I'm in Arkansas. I was raised
Yeah.
super conservatively and through Christian schools pretty much my whole life. And I remember our men really being taught to like be men. And then we had like toxic masculinity and then we had Me Too movement. And so
Yeah.
I just assume after that we ruined men and then they went into their shell and now they don't know what the
Yes.
fuck to do with us. But
Yeah,
you're
that's exactly
saying,
what it is.
okay,
No,
I'm like, but maybe
no,
also
there's
this,
that too. There
there's
is
parallel things
absolutely that too.
happening.
There's a
Okay.
million things happening to men right now. It's so funny because I talk to my female friends, and so I'm watching the show Summer House right now. I don't know if you watch that show,
Mm-mm.
but okay. So it is like the cheesiest show. It's on Bravo. It's about this group of people who live in a summer house in the Hamptons, men and women. And I watch it with my girlfriends on Tuesday night. Tonight I'm watching the second half of the reunion. Very excited about it. Anyway, but when I'm watching this show, I'm watching it through this very different lens from all of my female friends, where they get mad at me sometimes because I'm constantly calling out things that are unfair to men. So last week on the first half of the reunion, there was this woman on stage who was getting mad at one of the men who had done something in the house. And she lashes out. She's screaming at him. She's calling him I don't know if I can swear on this show, but
Yes,
like
please.
she's okay. She's like a fucking loser, a fucking horrible man who likes to, oh my God, what was he? What was the word that she was using? You like to kind of like belittle women, like you like belittling women, right?
Mm.
And it was in regards to this one situation in the house where drunkenly at a dinner, she blurted out something inappropriate about him that was a little bit embarrassing, and he went and talked to her about it, and he was stern about it because it really bothered him
Yeah.
that she had done that. And I actually was thinking he's handling this very well. She's being a baby because she did something stupid, and he's handling himself very well. Right.
Right.
So after the show aired, I'm sure she got lots of feedback from women about him being a toxic man and putting her in her place, and that's not appropriate. So it empowered her in some way.
Mm.
And then when she got to the reunion show, she blasted him when she was the one at fault. And I pointed that out to my friends, saying, like, why is she allowed to do this? Why is she allowed to say these things to him and scream at him and swear at him? And
Mm.
not a single person is jumping in to help him in some way. I've turned into like a huge man lover,
I
obviously,
love
based
it.
on the work that I do. But it was just so interesting that that's the world that we're in right now. That men are supposed to bear the brunt of so many horrific things and not say anything. And if they get up and yell or they get up and argue the woman, they're a toxic man or they're a I keep forgetting the word, not a perpetrator, but like a belittler of women, that they're quieting women. And I felt that it was so hard
Yeah.
for men in that space. So there's so many things that are going on for men. They're getting so many labels thrown at them. Some are fighting through and not caring. Some are fighting through and doing the exact same thing to women to squash women down. But it's not good for anybody. It's creating a lot of polarization and a lot of anger
Mhm.
towards so many individuals, and there's no need for it. The thing is that I've learned from 22 years of working with men is men are wonderful and men have feelings. And
Mhm.
I didn't know that before I started
Mhm.
doing this work, especially the feelings part. And that's the hardest part, I think, for so many women to realize is that men feel things too.
Which is insane. Why would we think they don't? Especially if we're mothers and
Because
we've had sons,
yeah, yeah, but we can do it for our sons. We
but
can't do
not
it
for
the
other
same
men.
always for our husbands and for other men. There's many things, and I don't know if you have this as well, but there's many things that I will say or even do to my husband that in my mind, I'm like, oh, he's a man. He can handle it. Like, even me, I'll be like, he's strong enough to handle this. But if you were to do that to me, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I'm not strong enough to handle that. But
Yeah.
I know, but now through more conversations with my husband, I know that those things hurt him and impact him more than I can see on his face. Because he doesn't break down and cry, I can't see it impacting him as
Mhm.
much as it impacts me. So, I'm learning from the men that I work with. I'm learning from the men that are in my lives.
Mhm.
And I think I'm getting to be lucky because I get to see all of this stuff and understand it and not be triggered by it. But I think so many women are triggered by men having feelings as well that it just ends up in horrible backlash that doesn't serve anybody.
That's so insane. So my world, I mean, I do see that. Like I have a lot of people in my news feed, especially like Facebook, that are very angry at everyone.
Yeah.
Not just
Yeah.
men, but everyone, whatever, regardless of your political affiliation, they're
Right.
angry. And then I have this other kind of subculture that I'm involved in that's very much mankind problem project, John Wineland, David Data, like helping men find their feelings and like go off into the woods and learn how to make fires and like all of that
Yeah.
shit, which is so fucking yummy. So like I do think that the pendulum is coming back. And I'm sure you're seeing some of that with your work with men that like
Definitely.
men are realizing, okay, I'm done being a
Doormat. Yeah.
doormat. Like I'm done.
So you have problems with words too. That makes me feel better.
I do, especially this late in the afternoon that we're recording. But like, I feel like okay, we hit the pinnacle at Me Too, right? We were like, fuck all of y'all. You're not
Yeah.
taking advantage of us anymore. We're not handling this shit from you. And then we like stomped on the guys really bad, right? And we're like, I'm gonna put you in your place. And then we had a few years of like, ah. And then I feel like the pendulum is slowly coming back to where we're like, okay, maybe we don't have to be crazy about this. And like, oh yeah, there
Yeah.
are some good dudes out there. Cool. Oh, my husband might actually be one of them. Or like I
Yeah.
might actually want a guy who's great. And how do I attract that?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because my world's a little bit more woo-woo than most, but I am, and I'm with you. I love men. I have always had such a heart, and I've had several friends that do lots of men's work. And I love the work that you're doing. And men are freaking amazing and precious, and
Yeah.
we need to honor them and we need to make help them feel like men again because there's
Yeah.
nothing sexier. I'm sure you're thinking about your husband, but I'm thinking about mine. There is nothing sexier than a man who is a man who, like to your point, can be like, oh, that's cute. No, we're not doing that. Like, here's the
Right.
container we're doing things in, babe. And mine does this to me all the time. And I'm like, fuck, tell me
Yeah.
again that I
Yeah.
can't do it. You know, it's so hot.
Yeah. So I have a slightly different take on it. So yes, I love
Yeah, do
men
it.
being men, but
Yeah.
I love when they're men who can be men
Uh-huh.
who also understand communication
Yeah.
and have emotional intelligence. So
Fuck
there's like this,
yes. That's the
yes. So like
perfect.
that's the perfect combination
Mhm.
right there. So like I love a man. I mean, a man who can hang a picture for me
Yes,
is
please.
like the sexiest without being asked. Like, I remember when we first moved into our home and I had like all these pictures lined up against the wall. Like, I can hang a picture. Hang it horribly. I do it with thumbtacks. Like,
I
so,
do too. Oh
oh, you
my God. I
do?
have the
Okay, that's
same
how I do it
problem.
because it's so much easier. But I had it against the wall. And I was like, this is your job. Like, this is
Yes.
not my space. I've done everything else. This is not your space. And then it took a long time for him to do it. But when he did hang those freaking pictures, I was like, that's fucking sexy.
Were you
These are
not
like
so turned on
simple
that
things.
day? You were
I was
like,
so
just,
turned on that
Let's
day. I mean, I
go.
was annoyed the days before because it wasn't being done, but as
Yeah.
soon as it was done, I was like, you're freaking, like, you're sexy. You're absolutely sexy. When he fixed the toilet, like
Mm,
without me having to call a plumber, like that was
mm,
attractive and sexy. But the thing that makes me most turned on by him, and I've been with him for 23 years,
yeah.
is when he can hold space for my emotions
Yes.
and then hug me versus many years ago when he would feed into my emotions
Mm.
and everything would escalate and become big and catastrophic and harmful and disconnecting for the two of us. That was the most unsexy thing ever because all it would lead to was a complete disconnect for us because all I kept thinking was what a baby this man is that he can't handle my emotions. Like that's how I'm
Tell
just
us
being
more.
honest
How
with
did you
you
get out of that?
because we took a course called Safe Conversations. Like, and obviously I teach this stuff. So I had been attempting to teach it for a very long time to him. And that's a very challenging space for me to be in
Mm,
because he never wanted to learn from me, which I wouldn't want to learn from my partner either.
right.
When we went to take a course called Safe Conversations, that is when everything started to change because we learned how to be quiet when your partner is expressing something, whether it is calm and contained or it's in the moment and frazzled and razzled. It was a complete lesson on how to remain calm and how to respond to the other person for myself as well for my husband and him for me, and that program was the biggest connector for the two of us. It's the Gottmans. They had created
Oh,
this safe
great. I love
conversation
them.
played. It's absolutely amazing. And that was the biggest like first hurdle that we got over that had my husband going from getting defensive and diving into whatever I was frazzled
Freaking out
about.
about. Yeah.
Yeah. To, oh God, I hear you. That freaking sucks. Do you want a hug? And like that transition was absolutely amazing because that created safety for me, it created comfort. And for me, I saw that as true masculinity.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've totally wrote this down because I'm finding that we're actually having some issues arguing. We never
Yeah.
argue, but whenever we do, it's been like twice in 4.5 years. What
Oh,
I'm
wow.
noticing is I am very calm, and I think it triggers feelings of like his mother.
For sure.
And he becomes a teenager and starts like raising his voice and acting ridiculous. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why
Yeah.
are you fighting with me like this? You
Yeah.
look like you're 17.
Yeah.
And he'll be
It's
like,
it's
why are
it's
you
shame.
acting
It's
like my
shame.
mother? I'm not.
No, but
I'm just
it's
listening.
shame. It's shame that's triggered.
It is.
100%.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely need to take a look at that course.
Yeah.
When you were talking about holding emotions, it made me think of I've told this story a couple of times on this podcast where I'm noticing the safer that I feel in sex, the more I can like fully
Oh,
express.
release. Yes.
And when you have a husband who can let you literally ugly cry orgasm on top of him and him just be like, babe, you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like, keep
Yeah.
going. I don't know what's happening
Yeah.
right now, but
Let's do it again.
just do it. Like, have
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah.
That is also so
Oh,
incredible.
100%. I have a whole bunch of videos about that, about like the biggest turn-ons for women in the bedroom. And I would say 9 out of 10 of them are all about getting her out of her head. And I know that sucks for men to hear that like the whole sexual experience has to be about calming her down. Like, why are we so frazzled in our brains that we can't just calm down?
Yeah.
But really all I'm doing is providing insight to men. There's a million other videos that women can watch to understand what's going on for men.
Mm.
But I want men to understand that some of the actions that we do may read as disinterest or holding back or pulling away, but really what they are, it's just discomfort and potentially confusion for us or us being in our heads. So if men who are listening as confident men, they can say, "Oh, that sign right there, that's her. She's pulling away a little bit because she's uncomfortable right now. I'm gonna tell her how sexy her body is. I'm gonna pull back for a second and just look at her and tell her that she can calm down. And I'm just gonna let her relax and take complete control over the situation. She doesn't have to do anything." When they can read that that's what's going on for a woman and take that step back and then lead as men and contain not everything, but contain the experience in a safe environment, that's when women can really unleash.
God, that's so yummy.
It is.
I'm thinking about another fight that we had. I must be getting
Oh, see,
crazier
now
the
you've
older
had
that
three
I
fights.
get.
Right, exactly.
This one
No,
was
it's not.
this one
It's
was
not that
about
you're getting
soap.
crazier.
It was about soap.
I know, isn't it? It's
So,
always about the dumbest things.
and it's not about soap, obviously, right? But
No.
we have a two-story, and I'm up in the second story right now, and the bathroom that's up here is shared by my two teenage boy children.
Yes. Yeah.
So, it's always kind of gross. And then my husband has like his office is up here, so he's up here most of the time. And I walk in there one day and the soap is completely empty. And I'm like, what the fuck? I
Hmm.
have a pantry
Animals.
downstairs with like 10 things of soap from Bath and Body Works. Like, go get some more soap. And I said something about like, hey, did you notice the soap is like, why did the boys not put more soap up here? And he like goes off the handle about how he's not responsible for the soap and who should be responsible. And I just was like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Mhm.
Everyone is responsible for the soap and the toilet paper around here. I am
Yeah.
not the responsible one.
Hmm.
And this went on for like 2 days. He
Yeah.
was so upset with me for calling out the soap, and I was so fucking angry that he didn't take responsibility for the soap. So, day two, he's like, "Hey, babe, do you want to go get some lunch?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, let's go get lunch. There's this cool place down the street. I haven't tried it." We get halfway there. Somehow the soap comes up
Of
again.
course, it always, because it's top
He
of mind for both
turns
of you.
around and
Of course.
literally drops my ass off at the front door like I'm a child. And I walk
Yeah.
in the house and I am like, what is happening to my life right now?
Yeah. It's
And so I'm,
interesting. I wish I could even provide the insight for men. I still don't fully understand what that means for men. I help men understand women. I wish I could understand that side to say this is what it triggers for men when you bring up these things. So what I have seen from my research, even when working with my husband, is that it triggers feelings of inadequacy, triggers feelings of shame, triggers feelings of discomfort because I know for my husband, he is constantly doing everything to make me happy. I know he is. He's trying to balance everything in his life. And for him, when he hears something has fallen through the cracks or he's dropped the ball, or on the flip side, that I can't be happy with what he's giving, he
oh,
gets very triggered. So
I can see that.
I'm assuming one of those things is what the trigger is for him, where he's like, I'm doing all that I can do. Right. And you're still on me about freaking soap. And you're just thinking, like, just, go get some fucking soap for yourself. But he's thinking, why can't you just shush and go do the soap because you noticed it was out? I understand it completely. And
Yep.
that was an argument, same argument, different soaps, right? That my husband and I
Oh
were
my God.
constantly
For
having.
me, it was mental
That
load.
was
I think
saying,
that was the
yeah.
problem is I was carrying so much mental load. And then I was like, the one fucking thing they can do to help. And nobody
Yeah.
even puts more soap out. And they're
Yeah. But
gross. These boys are so gross.
the thing is that I love about men is
Mm.
if you put that on their list of things for them to focus on, they would most likely do it. If you
Mhm.
said, I have too much on my plate right now, I need these four things to be taken off of my plate. Taking out the garbage every week, putting the soap
Mhm.
into the bathroom when it gets completed, and then two other things that you need, they would do it. But that's very frustrating for women. It's because we just do things and we just pick up and do things when
Yeah.
we see something's not happening. We don't need somebody. Well, maybe we do. If I was talking to a man right now, he'd probably say, well, on the flip side, these are things that women need to be aware of. But these household things are things that are on our radar that we're constantly thinking about so that we can create the most loving, safe, wonderful environment for our family, which is why your pantry was stocked with a whole bunch of extra soap so that
Yeah.
when soap ran out, you could provide it. But I understand why it's triggering for men. I do. But I also understand why it's triggering for women. But the thing that helps with the conversation
Mhm.
is men not reacting, right? When they do feel that jolt, and then women to also not react as strongly when they see that something is undone. It's about working together to find a solution. And that's really hard when you have two individuals who haven't gone through programs, who haven't focused on self help for a very long time, who haven't gone
Yes.
through safe conversations. It's very challenging. But one person does have to give in, and then the other person has to follow the leader.
Absolutely. Or when one person has gone through all the self-help and the other one hasn't gone through
Yes.
anything.
And that's very challenging.
And which is, yeah, and you finally got your husband to take that course and it changed your whole
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
What was interesting for me with this situation, I know we're still talking about soap, but obviously it wasn't
No,
about
but it's not about
it was
soap.
me
It's not
carrying all
about
the mental
soap.
load. And I remember when it happened, this is why he turned around and drove me back home instead of taking me to go get pizza. I had said, because it came up again, and I had said in the car, I was like crying. And I was like, I just needed you to wrap your arms around me and tell
Yes.
me
I
it was
say
all
that all
going to
the
be
time
okay.
too.
Like, I just needed you to register because I was incapable of registering that
Yeah.
it wasn't about the soap. It was that I was just carrying way too much and I
Yeah.
was working really late hours and I was just exhausted. And I just needed him to help me get there and like let me get to the point where I realized it wasn't about
Yeah.
soap. It was
Well,
about
once your nervous system can calm down, then you
exactly.
can realize it's not about
I
soap.
just needed to get there and then I would pull myself back and go, okay, I can't work so many hours. I need to ask for four things for my family to help me.
Yeah.
And yes. So how do you teach men to kind of see above the issue? Like if
Well,
he
because they'll walk us through a scenario,
Mhm.
right, of what happened in their household or with women in their lives in the past, and we'll say, "Here's what's really going on. Here's what she's trying to say when she's saying this.
Hmm.
Here's what you could have done." So it's really about mental rehearsal with them, but then also having aha moments of, "Oh, that's what she was wanting when I was doing X, Y, and Z." It's really very in the moment where they're describing a scenario where I can completely understand from their point of view. They're like, that does not sound anything like what happened. But
Exactly.
because we're women, and that's really what I'm saying we, because there's 12 of us wing girls, that the wing girls do is offer up the female perspective so that
Hmm.
men can understand. And then we have tools and tips afterwards for solutions for them moving forward. So, like the scenario
Amazing.
for you, we would have, if your husband would have come to us and said, like, my wife keeps freaking nagging about this damn soap. Why is this soap so goddamn important to her? Like, I do everything in my household. We would probably say, how many kids do you have? What does your wife do for a living? Is she taking care of the whole household? Is she running everything? We would say she's exhausted. She has
Mhm.
so much on her plate right now. And women are not wonderful at saying, please take something off of my plate because we want to be super women who do everything so that we can feel like amazing caregivers. But we
Mhm.
also have jobs now. We have so many other things added to our plate that it's just too overwhelming. And sometimes when we get overwhelmed, our nervous systems get shot and we get frazzled and we don't know how to say these things. So the thing that we're looking for is our partner to say, whoa, you seem so overwhelmed, right?
Right.
Because what you want your husband to see is that you're being snippy, you're being bitchy, you're being out of character. And you want him to say, this isn't my wife. Something's going on. I want to help her. That's for me, like that's what I'm looking for is for my husband to say, this is not who my wife is. This other character that's stomping around our house, frustrated and angry all the time. I know she's warm, she's sweet, she's feminine, she's sexy. That's who my wife is. So when she's acting that way, something else is going on. But what tends to happen is the reverse.
Mhm.
That the man starts saying, no, my wife's this fucking nag
Yes.
who's a narcissistic bitch. And if she's happy, ooh, that's every once in a while that she's happy. And something else must be triggering that happiness to happen. So we help teach the guys that no, she really is this warm, soft character. But the interactions that she's having with you as her partner are hardening her, frazzling her, and shaking her nervous system to the core so that she cannot be that person anymore. And then in turn, that's having an impact on you. So you also can't be that amazing man that you know you are at the core. And once you can see that about your
Mhm.
partners and help them get out of that, they can live more in that space of like warm and gooey and loving and wonderful. Because I know that once my husband could see me as my feminine self,
Mhm.
that I wasn't this monster, right? That I had been acting like for several years.
Yeah.
I could be more sexual. I could be kinder. I could be softer. I wanted those sides of me to come out because I had the space for it. I didn't have to harden myself so much and close myself off so much to deal with everything around me. So that's what we help men see. And then we help them with the steps on how to help release her. And so for so many men, I've actually changed my advice on this. I used to advise
Mhm.
to just start shifting things in the household and The woman in your life is going to question it at first because it's going to seem out of character and inconsistent. But if you keep with your consistency and keep doing it, then she'll slowly start to soften and believe it. And I've changed my advice recently to tell your wife that this is something you're doing.
Mm.
You are the leader. So if you go to your wife and say, I've realized I've been treating you horribly and that you are carrying the full mental load of this entire household. And my plan now is to alleviate some of that for you by doing X, Y, and Z. And I also want to be there for you emotionally. And I'm going to check in every evening with you while I'm rubbing your feet. We're going to have a 10-minute talk, and you're going to tell me everything that went on the day that was frustrating you. And I'm just going to sit there and listen, right? So you tell her what your plan is, and maybe that's not your plan, but that's an example of a
Yeah.
plan. And then you do it consistently. And that will actually bring that trust, that relief, that calming of the nervous system down super fast and rebuild connection. If the wife is open to it, she has to be open to it. If she's not open to it and isn't in that space where she's longing for it still,
Yep.
then it's kind of done.
And it may be too late for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, one of the top things that I hear either from coaching clients or I mean on any of my social medias when people contact me, it's I can't get my wife to want to have sex with me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear that
Yeah.
a lot?
Oh,
What
yeah.
what is causing this?
Everything that I just said.
Mhm.
There's no way I am opening my legs for anybody that I despise.
No.
No, who cannot even refill the fucking soap in the bathroom. I'm not going to have sex with you, right? If you've hardened so much towards somebody because you're trying to say something that they're continuously not listening to, you're not helping out, you're not being a partner, you're helping with the housework, right? That rather than this is our housework collectively that we are doing. If you're not taking the lead and being the CEO of your family as a man,
Mhm.
that's going to be a complete turn off for a woman. She's not going to be able to feel in her feminine, let alone in a sexual space. There are many women who do have sexual things going on where sex is painful or perimenopause, menopause is affecting them in some way. But I believe that most of the time it is a mental and emotional thing towards their husband. They feel unheard, unseen, which is huge, and therefore they're unsexual and turned off. And if you want to turn those lights back on, you start to see her as the person who she really is. You start to listen to her and work with her. You start to lead and be the attractive man that every man has the potential to be. And you can revitalize a amazing sex life. If anything, once you get to that space, you can move more towards, it sounds like, the adventurous sex life that you and your husband have.
That sounds amazing. And I'm sure people are listening, especially men, are like, oh my God, how do I turn that ship? Like you just listed off a bunch of stuff, but that was pretty
Yeah.
high level. And right
Yeah,
now,
but so,
like my wife doesn't want to speak to me. She's definitely not opening her
so
legs for me.
right.
Like we are roommates. I
Just
have
go
several
really
friends
slow.
right now that have literally moved into separate bedrooms and
Yeah,
decided being roommates may
is better.
invigorate the sex life, which I can't imagine that happening.
No, and it doesn't. Listen, for some people, if their husband's tossing and turning all night or vice versa, like there's something disrupting the sleep,
Sure.
yes, it can revitalize the sex life because you're not annoyed with the other person and you have a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
But so for guys who come to us, we start with really baby steps. And the baby step is first understanding where your wife is coming from, what might be going on with her, why she's so upset, why she's so angry. It's really anger. It does become this like anger that a wife feels for you, a disdain, right? When you go so long being unseen or only seen as a mother and a housewife,
Mm-hmm.
it leaves you feeling very bitter towards the person that you believe put you in that place. Even though that's not the true story, but it's the feelings that happen. And men have their own feelings like that are of a very similar vein at similar stages when this happens. So first we would highlight for the man what is going on, why she's so upset, what she's needing from him. And then we give him baby steps. And the first baby step is to announce what you're going to do. It's really just announcing, I'm going to every single night come home, you and I are going to talk for 20 minutes. That's it. It can be very simple. And I don't, just depending on what you think that wife specifically needs,
Mm-hmm.
but it can just be as simple as every night I'm going to come home. and we're going to talk for 20 minutes. And I want to hear about your day. And I want you to hear about my day as well. But I definitely want to hear about everything that is weighing on your shoulders. And then you do that every single day. You follow through with a promise that you have made. You show that you can be consistent. And then we might layer something on top of that, again, based on whatever the wife's needs are. Okay. So from our conversations over the past 2 weeks, I have heard how much you have on your plate that I do not have on my plate. And I have thought of 3 ways that we can make these things easier. I want to do X, Y, and Z. I want to make sure the soap is in the bathroom every single time it goes off. That is my responsibility. I don't want you to think about that. But whatever it is, again, it's baby steps, but it's working with the person that's in front of you. And that's why we're there as women, so that we can tell this man what's going on. So he understands.
That's so yummy. And
Yeah, oh,
such
yes,
a
it
better
is yummy.
response than like I had one guy, he was like, God, I want my wife so badly. All I can do is sit here at work and think about how much I want her and I want to fuck her. But then I get home and I'm like, hey, babe. And she's like, God, no.
Yeah.
Like, and has 10 million reasons why. And it's like,
Yeah. And
you
then
have
that
to,
gets to be worked into the conversation
yeah.
100%.
And you have to
And
realize too that like trying to meet someone with your sexual needs when their emotional needs are completely empty and their mental load is so
yes.
heavy that they can't lift it anymore. Like that's
Yeah.
never, ever, ever going to result in
No,
sex.
it's
Ever.
never and vice versa. It wouldn't work the other way, right? Like it just if you one person's bucket has to be full
Mm-hmm.
and one person's annoyances have to be empty in order to be able
Mm-hmm.
to give to somebody else. And so I know it sounds unfair to the men because they're like, this need for sex is so big that their need doesn't get to be met first. Sometimes it does in relationships, but in my belief and what I have seen, that if you can alleviate some of this pressure from the woman in your life, take away some of these stresses, take away some of the mental load, and really help her nervous system calm down and release all of that tension that she's feeling and get back to being feminine, that's when your needs become easy to get met. Because once, like what you just said, like you don't have the capacity for it when you are emotionally drained. But when you are emotionally filled, your nervous system is calmed down, you're able to hear and see your partner, and you feel like they're providing safety for you. That's when the freedom to be more sexual can come out.
Mm-hmm.
And then she can start seeing you in a sexual way. And even you can about that as well. So, like after the first week of rubbing your feet and having a conversation, you can say, "Oh God, your legs are so sexy." And just start like tickling the inside of her leg while you're talking. Maybe go up to her thigh. You can do little things that are sexual and see how she responds. But she has to soften up first. If she's not even letting you touch her, let alone tickle her up and down her leg, she's not going to let you have sex with her. But if you baby step into these things, and baby step doesn't mean like wait a year and a half. This can be a 2 week, 1 month process.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can get back to that sexual place. You can start flirting with her and teasing her and doing as you please, escalating in conversation to get to that more sexual place.
Yum. Okay. So if I pull us back to the beginning of our conversation where we started with nice guy versus good guy,
Yeah.
what is it that men actually want and are longing for? Why do they come to you?
So the men that come to me, most of them are just done with being the nice guy and they want to learn how to do it right. They just nice hasn't been working for them,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I have my girlfriend who is recently divorced. I guess not so recently, is divorced. And she finally decided she wanted to get serious about dating. And she started to dating this guy. And she kept writing things to me like, "Ah, he's such a gentleman. I just wish he would be a beast." Right?
Oh
And
my
she kept
God.
trying to make this thing work because on paper, he was such an amazing guy, this perfect guy, so opposite to her last husband and opposite to any of the guys that she's been sleeping with over the past couple of years, right? Just for fun. And she was trying to make it work. And she kept saying, he's just so nice. He's so nice. Like, which means he's just so polite.
Boring.
There's no butterflies. Yeah, it's boring. It's that
Mhm.
he wasn't really disagreeing with her. He wasn't saying his opinions. He wasn't flirting with her. He wasn't ruffling her feathers. He wasn't doing things to inject any tension in their conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And tension is like the sexiest thing in the entire world. Not tension of like, I hate everything that you're saying,
Right.
but like tension of I disagree with you, but like you're freaking cute. It's okay. I'll skip over it if I disagree. Like there's just like the tension of anticipation of not knowing what's going to happen. He he wasn't pulling any of or pushing any of those buttons for her. And my point being is you're saying like what are men looking for? They're looking to be able to push the right attraction buttons, attract women that they want, walk into a room and feel like they have a bunch of options. And they come to us with these requests, but what we end up doing for them is we end up helping them take off this nice guy mask that they've been wearing for so long because it's a mask. It's just there to protect themselves. Same things when guys are assholes, they're wearing an asshole mask. It's just to protect who they are because they're insecure in some way and not fully comfortable with themselves. So we help them become really comfortable with who they are as men. We help them understand what women want from them
Mhm.
as men, what is okay in terms of masculinity, because they have all of these really limiting beliefs about who they're allowed to be as men, especially today. And then we give them the exact tools they need, how to approach women, how to talk to women in ways that are playful and fun and bantery and flirty, how to escalate with them sexually, how to ruffle their feathers in just the right way. We teach them how to
Mm,
do all of these things. So this is for
yummy.
single men
Mhm.
and for men who are married as well.
That sounds
So
amazing.
yeah, and it's really fun. Like I have a team of 11 wing girls that work with me, and they really do all of the heavy lifting. I'm just like the figurehead of the business now. I've been doing this for 22 years, but they're the ones who are really in it with these guys. They run weekly Q&As with them, weekly flirting sessions with them, weekly lesson plans with them where they learn to to fill their toolkit with all the right tools
Oh my gosh, this is
needed
amazing.
to
Is it
be
one-on-one or in a group
no,
or?
it's in a group. Well, some of it's one-on-one. So they also there's a lot of things. So they have like a whole program that they go through that
Mhm.
is a group. So they have like a cohort of men that they go through where they become really close. It's like a great men's group led by a woman, which
Oh.
is amazing.
Mhm.
Um, and then they have one-on-one time with their own individual wing girls. If there's things that they want specifically for them, they'll work on those things
This
with
is
them.
amazing because I'm sure you learned so much from your buddy who's sharing how his wife's being a bitch because of soap. And you're like,
Oh
oh,
God.
yeah, mine does that too, but it's not soap,
Yes.
it's toothpaste, and it's the
Yes.
toothpaste is everywhere, you know? And
Yeah.
then they can identify together, like, oh, this is really what my wife is saying. Oh, yeah, yours is
Yeah.
probably saying that too. And then I
Yeah.
love the one-on-one where they're like, okay, I need to practice this skill, just but
Yeah.
not in front of everybody.
Yes, exactly. That's what it is. Okay. It's like I practice things, but not in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And so they'll even practice like I want to have this conversation with my wife. So for the guys that are married, for
Mhm.
guys who are single, they'll say, okay, I want to practice like text messaging with you because I don't want to do it in front of others. But other
Yeah.
guys are like, this is great. I want to do it in front of others so that I can learn more and learn faster. Yeah, it is an amazing program. And really, it's like this is like very woo-woo, but it's this amazing healing space for the women who are wing girls in my program
Mhm.
and these men. Because women who work with me get to be heard by men for sometimes the first time in their life, right? And men in the program get to be heard by women, heard and seen by women. They get support, they get love, they get really just the attention from women that they've never had before. And
Mhm.
because of this, everybody walks away feeling more confident, more comfortable in their skin. It's I I love this program selfishly for me because it makes me feel good. But the men in this program have unbelievable results where some of them end up in great relationships. Some of them end up dating a ton of women that they didn't have the opportunity to before.
Mm.
It's really amazing.
What is this program called?
So this program is called the Inner Circle.
Okay.
That yes, it's called our Inner Circle program. I feel like I'm jumping all over the place in this conversation with you,
We
but yeah,
are,
no,
but like
but it's good.
your hands are in everything. Like when I look at your
Yeah.
website, it's like a gazillion million people watching you on YouTube. And then you have this like huge podcast with 500 plus episodes. And then you have these programs. Like you're touching people in so many different ways. Is this intentional, this huge web that you've cast? Is there a specific way
No.
that you want our listeners to come and interact with you? Are there, I know you
No, this
have
is
the F
not
formula. We
intentionally.
haven't even talked
Yes.
about what that is.
Yes. No, this is not. I think this is something, this is like 22 years of doing this that I used to hate this about different people when they would talk. Like, because you've said it a couple of times, like, let's drill it down. That was the thing for me. I always wanted to drill it down. And now I feel like I'm talking so esoterically that it's not helpful for anybody that's listening. But my intention has always been
Mhm.
to give men access into what's in here.
Mhm.
And anything that I put out there into the world has that mission behind it. It's to help men understand women. And I would love to receive something on the other end. I want to understand men. I want to understand my sons. I want to understand my partner. And so I know how valuable that is to men because so many men are so frustrated and so confused and so down on themselves. And it's really these good men who beat themselves up the most because they want to do it the best. These are the men that would be great partners who just are too afraid to do the things that are necessary in order to attract us. So, my belief is that I'm making great men to pass on to great women.
Which is freaking awesome. And I feel
Thank
like
you.
I feel that responsibility too as a mother
Oh,
to
yeah, for
teenage boys.
sure.
I have one that's about to be 18 and they both have girlfriends. And I think about this all the time. Like, how can I help them be a good husband? Like, what are things I can teach them now to be a good lover? Like, I've given them books
Yeah.
on because they're curious about sex. I'm like, you want to learn about sex? Do you know how to please a woman? What does that mean,
You're a good
mom? Well,
mom.
here's a great book. You should read this before you touch a woman. You know what I mean?
But that's amazing because so many other mothers had said, like, don't think about sex. Don't even try to have sex with women. Don't attempt to do that. Like, that's where the misinformation comes from. You have to be nice to women. You can't be this. You can't do that. That's where a lot of those lessons
Mm,
hurt men in the long run. So you are doing an amazing job because
thank
you're
you.
arming them with tools and not shaming them for being masculine and for being men.
Yeah, please go be
Yeah.
men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're saying
So,
you're sexual, like, but do it right.
yes, yes. Like for the girlfriends and the women in your life, please go figure out how to do this because that
Yes.
will be helpful. Um, so I love what you were just saying about you want to help men understand what's happening in your brain. And I was playing with your YouTube channel and there's gazillions of videos from like how to give oral to what is she thinking. And I think that that may be one of the top resources. Of course, I'm going to put all of your links below.
Oh, thank you.
But I think that's a great first place to start. Or if you love podcasts and the 500 plus podcasts that you have are also like incredibly well written. So you can go through there and figure out exactly what topics you're looking for.
Yeah.
Tell me about this. What is the F formula?
So the F formula is my best-selling program. So
Yeah, what is
this
it about?
is a digital download program. It's an instructional guide on how to flirt with women the right way so that they
Okay.
respond. So it teaches men who may have never been exposed to flirting, or it teaches men who are nervous about flirting the baby steps of getting into flirting and then what women are looking for in terms of flirting, right? So it's telling them exactly how to flirt with women, the phases you have to go through, the signs you have to look for that says it's working. It walks you through all of it and teaches
I
you
feel like
exactly how
this would
to
be
flirt with
so good
women.
for dating apps because like the amount
Amazing for
of
dating.
people that are like, hey, you're beautiful, or like, you up, you
Right,
available. Like
exactly.
the amount of shit in the inbox is so
I
bad.
mean, ChatGPT now is the best thing for anybody who wants. The only thing that's so negative about that is that and if you don't learn from what ChatGPT is showing you so that
Mhm.
it enhances your personality, you just end up being a bigger disappointment when you meet face to face.
Right.
So, like ChatGPT, any tools that I'm going to provide that give you lines, everything has to be training wheels because if you're using it as another mask to put on, it again, as I said, it's just going to be a bigger disappointment when you get to
Yeah.
be in person and you don't have any signs of having a playful, charming personality like you showed in your texts when you were leading up to the date. So in the F formula, it doesn't necessarily give you lines to say. It gives you instructions on how to create lines and how to think about lines and what kind of lines are appropriate for certain stages of interactions. Like the first section of the F formula teaches you all about your 7 tools that you have in order to flirt, right? So it teaches you about your eyes, your body language, your voice tonality. I totally forget what the other ones are as well, but it teaches you how to, oh, your touching. It teaches you how to use these in a flirty way, right? It doesn't teach you say this line and then this is the result that you're going to get. Because the truth is, especially with women, I can have 10 men lined up in front of me saying the exact same line. I'm going to get a different feeling from each of them. One, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I'm so turned on by you. One, I'm going to be like, I'm disgusted by you and fearful that you're going to hurt me in some way. Like you're going to have a different response to each guy. But so it walks you through the 7 tools that you have as a man. As you're a man, you have these tools already built into you. And it's going to teach you how to use each of those tools in a flirty, playful way so that it can create more flirtatious energy. And then it teaches you about the phases of flirting. Phase, oh my God, I'm so like ill practiced, but it's phase 1 initiation, phase 2, I forget what it is, and phase 3 is no, phase initiation, escalation, and then infatuation. Those 3 phases. And you have to go through these 3 phases one by one. You can't jump straight to phase 3 because if you jump to phase 3 of flirting, which is too intense for so many women, you're just going to get, yeah, you're just going to get blocked off by those women. So it teaches you how to go through each phase and recognize if your flirting is working and whether she's signaling for you to go to the next phase. It walks you through step by step how to do this. Yeah.
And we wonder why this isn't intuitive and just feels natural, but it's because of all these reasons, right? Like being squashed as a kid and your mom putting you down, and then the teacher, and then all the women that have told you that you're garbage and that you aren't lovable. And
so you don't even attempt to do this. You don't
no
even.
wonder why we're so fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So you're like building back your confidence, practicing. And then if you join the men's group, the inner circle, you have a chick to practice on.
Yes. 100%. Because that's that's why I actually started this program. At a certain point, I went down to oh my God, this is perimenopause. My brain just does not work anymore.
I'm in it too. That's why I couldn't
remember. I know, it's horrible. This is why I don't do interviews anymore. I'm just like an idiot. But trust me, I've written everything down, so I know that what I've written down is great information and helpful for thousands and thousands of men. But I went down to the university that's in our area, which I totally forgot what it's called, because I wanted to create something using AI and like a virtual reality world where men could practice flirting in a safe environment.
Yes.
Because I know how harmful it is and how hard it is to go interact with real women in real life and get rejected. It's like the women don't understand how scary it is and how hurtful women can be, which can stop many men from continuing to approach and pursue women. So I wanted to provide this safe environment for them. And then when I found out that it was like $1 million just to create 5 seconds of VR, I was like, okay, how can we do this in another way? And that's when I created my Inner Circle program, which first started only with the flirting sessions, where we would have mock flirting sessions with men where they would get to practice in a safe environment with girls who could actually give them feedback about what was working and what wasn't working, and then explaining to them why. So the men love being able to have this safe environment before they go out into the real world. It allows them to use these training wheels and get notches on their belt that builds up their confidence so that when they do go out in the real world and they do get rejected, it doesn't hurt as much because they're starting from like level 5 rather than level 1.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a muscle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's being in sales. You get rejected 100 times, but hey, 1 or 2 and then it's good to go. And then you're off to the next phase.
Yeah.
I had one client who couldn't ever make it past date 1. And the date 1 was always just coffee. Like she was always really casual about it. And she'd be like, when I meet him in person, I just don't ever want to get to phase 2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you swiping right on people you're actually attracted to? Or are you just like connecting with anyone that has a pulse that will have coffee with you? Oh, she said, no, I'm probably just swiping right on whoever. And then I just show up and then I'm like, meh. But I think there was also some trauma behind it, and that it was kind of scary to move to step 2 because then there might be an expectation. And then if I let them buy me dinner, what does that mean? And What do I have to give up?
Mhm.
So all of this gets
Okay,
much
that's
more
interesting.
complex as
But
you
that,
move forward. Yeah.
yeah, that's the whole. But the thing is that when you do click with somebody,
Hmm.
you stop caring about those things. There's fears there, but you can move forward. Like most likely that there were those things going on, but she probably just didn't feel a spark with that guy.
Could be.
He wasn't flirting with her in some way. Like, yes, there are certain times where you're like, I'm trying to protect myself, and I don't know if I go to dinner with him, do I have to do X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
But at least on my side, most often, if a guy comes to me and says, "Oh, we had this great, we were really connecting, blah blah," but she doesn't want to go on a second date. She wasn't feeling that chemistry with
Hmm.
me. I know that he wasn't creating any tension. He wasn't flirting with her. He wasn't teasing her. He wasn't being playful. He was having nice connection conversation for
And it wasn't
most of
enough.
the date. And that
Hmm.
wasn't enough. There was nothing that was saying, "I'm a sexual man. We are here because we're not trying to figure out if we can braid each other's hair later." Like that. That's why they will not
Oh.
get to date
Marnie,
too.
I need a class from you on women dating women because this is how I am the nice girl when it comes with other women. I am like, blink 3 times if you really are consenting to me touching your right boob. Like, I need to
Right.
make sure. And I can imagine that guys get stuck in that energy. And I
Yeah.
watched my husband, because I told you before we started, we're in an open relationship. So we're typically either always have a girlfriend or we're dating like right now we're in the dating stage. So we're,
Love it.
we're having a lot of fun, but like I watch him and he doesn't have to ask for 15 permissions before he touches the right boob. He just like goes
No.
for it and she wants it and she's
Yes.
into it. Like he's like, I don't do it unless like I can feel that they're ready and they want me to touch them. And I'm
Yeah.
over here like, hi, we should go vintage sailing together and go get a coffee and like,
Well, does
yeah.
that work for you?
No, I mean,
Right,
not
exactly. Because it's not
really.
sexy.
No, but I'll tell you, like the amount of guys where I have had really, really sexy dating app. This was before I met Scott. I was dating men as well, but like these like really sexy dating app conversations where they're so hot and sexy that I'm like, where do you want to meet? Like I have
Yeah.
literally a few times met people in a hotel room and just fucked because
Yeah.
it was so fucking hot. And I
Yeah.
hadn't even talked to this person other than on
Yes.
my DMs. I'm not
Yes.
saying that that's probably the smartest idea for anyone listening, but it
Why?
was,
Don't give the caveat. Like, don't, or disclaimer. Like,
I'm
that's
like,
fine.
maybe that wasn't super safe, but it was so much fun. And I thought, man, to have that kind of finesse that you
Yeah.
can get someone's panties wet through a dating app, that's
Yes.
what we're looking for, right?
Yes. Absolutely. 100%. But so I will say, if you can do that on a dating app, if
Yeah.
you can do that in person,
Uh-huh.
you have complete control over your dating life. And I think, like, for the men that I work with who do want a relationship, that when they can integrate that into also connecting with that woman,
Hmm.
right? They can like splash the little bits of sexuality and tension
Hmm.
and yumminess. I love your word, yumminess,
Yeah.
throughout a date, and then also connect and slow things down. Like, that is the ultimate, I think, at the end.
Hmm.
But if listen, if guys or girls, whoever is doing it, if they just want to go have sex in the bathroom, like, yeah, go there. Because I've always said, I'm not just trying to help men have
Hmm.
dates and not find love and have long-term relationships. I'm not trying to get them married. I'm just trying to give them opportunities.
Hmm.
So again, if they want to get married and love her up for 15, 20, 30, 50 years, or have sex in a bathroom, or have casual sex with 5 different women, I want to give them that opportunity. But I also want them to do it with full integrity and be
Hmm.
awesome men about that, and like leave women better off than they found them. So that these women
Yes.
are opting in to a really fun experience as well, and not thinking that they're getting into something else.
Yes, which is so many layers deeper than what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, 1,000,000%. That's so
Yeah.
yummy. And then if you can figure out how to carry that into a long-term relationship, like
Yeah.
what we started talking
Yeah.
about here at the beginning of these podcasts with our husbands and how like they're holding this masculinity in our houses and this like super yummy, but then they're also conscious and aware and having these great conversations with us and holding
Yeah.
space for our crazy emotions as we go through
Yeah.
perimenopause. That's the ultimate because then you
Yes.
stay happy for decades and you have
Yes.
sexual tension for decades and you want to open your legs all the time for your partner,
Yes.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well, can I
that's
ask
great.
you a question?
Mhm.
How come you guys decided to be in an open relationship? Was this something that you both wanted before you got together, or something that you both thought, oh, this is something really nice in our lives right now. Like, where did
So
this come from?
I'm in an open relationship because of my second husband. Scott is my third. So in
Okay.
my second marriage, you already mentioned a bit of this with your friend, but I chose Mr. Nice Guy, golden retriever energy, because I needed that after my first marriage, which was very
Okay.
chaotic and um uh, yelling and fighting and screaming, and I just like I just needed calm in my life, calm, like in my nervous system, and this ability
Yeah.
to figure out who I was and the safety to do that. And so I joined a priestess program and learned how to be in my feminine energy, and like blew up my business 12 times and rebuilt all of it, and just so many cool things that I couldn't have done in my first marriage.
Yeah.
And then 8, 9 years in, I was like, this is fucking boring. And like, I started asking him, like, can we have sex in more than two positions? Like, can we do something a little edgy? Or how about doggy style? Could we try doggy? That would be wild.
Yeah.
And then we just got to this point where he was, I think it was kind of a Madonna whore complex. Like, you're my precious, amazing, beautiful angel wife, and I can't do
Yeah.
those
You can't do
things
that.
to you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, please treat me dirty. So
Yeah.
eventually we ended up in a polyamorous therapist office. And several months into that, she was just like, Jen, this is it. So like you decide what you want. So
Yep.
we decided to stay married, but to be open so that he could have other experiences and broaden his sexual repertoire, and I could have the experiences that I really desired before turning
Yeah.
40. I was like, if this, I'm peaking right now. Like I want to have sex all the time, and I
Yeah.
can't try anything. And so that opened the door. And Scott, my husband, was the second man that I swiped right on. So I had multiple months of him and other men and trying things. And then eventually we ended up together, and I remarried. My second marriage ended, and which was precious. I mean, he
Yeah.
was so sweet. And my therapist kept going, like, he is going to be the perfect husband for somebody that needs exactly what you needed, like
Yeah.
calm nervous system regulation. You're always going to be there, always going to be the same. And some woman is just going to snatch him. And he did. He got remarried. They've just had a baby. They're so happy. They're so vanilla. And here I am over here with Scott, who is exciting and always changing and always
Yeah.
challenging. And it's so much fun. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
why. So
That's
we
amazing.
just never closed. He wasn't looking for someone that was open, but he had decided within himself that he probably wasn't marriage material. So he hadn't ever married or had kids, and he was almost 40. And so he was kind of like, well, I guess I'll just have fun and, do what I'm doing through life. And then when he met me,
It's
things
like, oh, I
changed.
can do this with a partner as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's like, I can
Yeah.
still be free, and I can still not just sexually, but like I can be myself and still
Yeah.
live this life with this person that I love. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so we've had quite the adventure over the last 4.5 years, and we've had a few long-term thruples, which have been amazing, and that's really where my heart is. And I think he also really enjoys having a third partner long term. And right now we're kind of in between, and we're dating and trying to figure out again, like, what is it that we're calling in? And so that's
Yeah.
been a really
Which
fun
just sounds that
adventure.
you're open to everything ebbing and flowing, which is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That's
really
a,
nice when you do have a permanent partner, because when you do get broken up with, when
yeah,
things
there's
do
some
end,
safety there.
there's always like, hey, we are so good together, and we have such a great relationship and such a great sex life, that all this is just kind of the cherry on the top. And so
Right.
it's not the end of the world. You don't fall into depression because somebody broke up with you, right? You're just like, okay,
Right.
cool, on to the next.
So interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah. I love that. I have so many friends who are also in open relationships, and it fascinates me every time they talk about it. It sounds like a lot of hard work and then so much communication, at least for them.
Yeah,
So much communication goes into it,
it's a lot.
but it sounds very satisfying.
I think it depends on the type of person. Like, I truly
Yeah. It,
believe that some people are monogamous,
yes,
and
I am monogamous.
yep, and they do so well in that container, and they're so supported, and it feels really good for them. I think there's other people, and I don't know that I'd even put Scott, my husband, in this bucket, but I am definitely wired for more than one
Yeah.
partner. And it's like this interesting huge capacity for people. Like, I noticed when I was dating Scott as well as other men, I could date, 5, 10 people at a time. date and remember their kids' names and where they worked and what they did and what they were into. And like, I loved that part.
Yeah,
That
you
was so,
cared about them.
it was as juicy as the sex for me.
Yeah.
And so I realized I really thrive when I have 3 or 4 partners and I love caring for them and
Yeah.
being a part of their lives. And I just think some people are wired that way.
Yeah. It's amazing. I am
Hmm.
not wired that way, but I'm fascinated by people who
Yeah.
are. I just think it's incredible.
And
Yeah.
same, like I have so much respect for people that are monogamous. I'm like, God, don't go choose this if you don't want to. Like, this is a
Yes.
lot. It's a lot to
No,
just be married to one person.
but I think even the fact that you're saying that there are options out there, like
Hmm.
that's the thing that I think so many people get so uncomfortable with or nervous about. Like even when it comes to guys who have all these desires sexually, they just keep them to themselves.
Yeah.
So we have a sex and intimacy Q&A every once a month, every Wednesday. The two coaches, Melissa and Amy, who run that Q&A, are sex and intimacy experts. Amy's not in an open relationship, but she's in a BDSM,
Hmm.
right? BDSM relationship. And then Melissa is polyamorous.
Hmm.
And even just the men hearing that women are okay with
Yeah.
that stuff and that they're driving the ship for that kind of lifestyle, it's not like imposed or forced on them,
Hmm.
opens up their minds in so many ways just to realize that there's potential for whatever option you want. You just have to open your mouth. I feel like that's the main thing that we teach in our program is just open your mouth. But here's how to do it properly so that you get the best response for you. But so many people, but the men that we work with specifically, really just hold everything close to the vest. They don't share a lot of things about themselves. They don't share a lot of things about their thoughts or their opinions or their wants and their desires.
Hmm.
And that's the core of what we do is we help them release these things into the world and teach them that it's okay to express who you are. If anything, it's attractive. And then it also helps you figure out who's going to match with you the best.
Hmm.
Because if you just pretend that you're perfect for everybody, you're going to connect with nobody. But if you say the things that you really want and really think and you really feel, you have a better chance of drawing in the right people who really want to connect with you sexually or in a partnership.
Hell yeah. Yeah. And even within your own, I'll just say marriage, I think a lot of people that are listening to my podcast, maybe even yours too, are partnered or long-term relationship slash marriage. Like your partner should want to hear about your desires and what you crave and what you need. And I have a friend right now who is totally open with me about his sexual desires and
Yeah,
things that
but not
he
his
loves.
partner.
And yeah, we even like share we share videos back and forth like, "Oh, I thought this was really
Amazing.
hot. I watched this and this fucking and he'll be like, "Yeah, I love that."
Yeah.
But he cannot tell his wife. Like I think the times that
Because
he
he
has
hasn't unlocked her yet. Because
exactly. He's
like she has shame around it. She has her own discomfort. And most like even I have it when my husband says certain things. If it's not said in a certain pattern,
yeah.
all I hear in my head is, "Oh, I'm not doing this right." That's my
Mm.
initial trigger. I'm not doing this right. I'm not good. Like that's what my trigger from childhood is you're not good enough, right?
Yeah.
So even though I've learned to navigate that little voice in my head in many spaces of my world, in certain places it still pops up again
Yes. Especially
where
bedroom.
in the bedroom where I can lock down, where I'm just like, okay, we're not at that comfort level here yet for you to be making these requests
Right.
because I still don't feel like I'm enough in the bedroom. Like my
Mhm.
husband and I wouldn't, I would say we're like really good sex, but we're like a level 6 for comfort in the bedroom
And
with
you're
each
like
other.
22
There's
years into your marriage, right?
into my marriage, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So we've worked a lot on so many other areas of being comfortable. Like we're very comfortable in our household, walking around, talking, communicating, breaking down, crying, like really revealing ourselves. But
Mhm.
in the bedroom, that's like the last area for us to work on. And I think a lot of couples are like that because I still have these incidents pop up. And so does he. Like if I request something or I say something and I'm not aware of how it can impact him, I know that it can have him freeze up in some
Mhm.
way and
Mhm.
feel less than, and vice versa for me. So I like it's interesting that your friend can tell you these things, but most likely in his own marriage, he probably told his wife, and either she got defensive or uncomfortable or closed off, which signaled to him she didn't want to hear about this stuff. Right.
Mhm.
So he just didn't say it again. Or he had that happen in his past relationship. So then his training is moving forward, you don't say anything about sex unless somebody else brings it up to you.
Yeah.
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 And
But
it
my call
sucks.
out to him is you realize that you have kind of conned someone into marrying you that's not really you. Like you're
Yes.
being a fake person. If you
Yeah.
can't bring your heart to your partner and especially your desires sexually when they're pretty extreme kink, like you're hiding that part of you and you're not getting your needs met and you're sexually frustrated and now you're living in another room. Like,
Mhm.
what
Yeah.
are you doing in this marriage?
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of people that need to hear that message and that like you really need to question what you're doing with your one life.
Yeah, but the thing is that like, going back to that nice guy mask that I was talking about, that's
Yep.
another mask that he's wearing. He's like, my mask is that I'm nice in the bedroom,
Yeah.
right? It's not who I really want to be, but I'm thinking that if I keep doing this, maybe she'll open up and maybe he's not even thinking those things. Maybe he's just thinking this is my life in the bedroom moving
Oh.
forward, and this is who I have to be.
And
But I
like
think like
inside there's like this beast that wants to come out,
yes,
right?
which can be amazing, but even like what I was talking about in the F formula, if you jump to phase 3 too fast, it can be very overwhelming and it's going to get you pushed away from the other person. So it has to be baby stepping into it. So
Mhm.
for me, things are the way I advise state topics that they're not fully comfortable with. I always like to use third parties, right? I bring up a friend of a friend who's doing X, Y, and Z in the bedroom. And then I kind of give my opinion on it, right? Oh my God, did you hear about like our neighbors? They are starting to do like kink in their house. And the other night, John like brought out this blindfold, whatever it is, whatever
Yeah,
the
yeah,
story
yeah.
is that you want to say, and you see how the other person responds to it.
Reacts, right.
And then
Exactly.
but that allows you to get into that space where it doesn't feel so invasive. It's not
Yes.
you saying like we should do this in the bedroom because I really want it, which can be very overwhelming to either party that's hearing this for the first time. It's a way to baby step into that kinkier side and see how the
Yeah.
other person responds. You can
Million
do that.
percent.
Yeah, like a third party, or you can start saying, "Oh, I was reading this article the other day, like
Yeah.
X, Y, like whatever happens, that psychologically, whatever,
Totally.
whatever
Reading
words you want to say."
erotica.
Right,
I was
reading
watching
erotica.
this porn when I was
Exactly.
having my own like self-pleasure session and I noticed I was really feeling a certain way when I watched like these two guys kiss each other.
Yeah.
That for me was crazy. When I was watching like gay porn one time and I was like, "Fuck, this is so hot. Why is
I
this so
know.
hot?"
Why do you think heated rivalry is such a big show?
Yes, exactly. And then
But
you're
even
like, give men
even that.
permission to be okay to be like, oh yeah, he's handsome, you know?
Yeah, but like even what you just said, that's such a casual conversation. Have you seen the show Heated Rivalry? Oh
Yeah.
my God, it's so sexy. These two guys making out, giving blowjobs to each other. I thought it wasn't going to be for me, but for some reason it turned me on. Have you ever had that happen before? Did you watch that show? Like it's a gentle way to get into that conversation and for men to bring things up like that as well. It's just for me, that's the advice that I give on how to gently move into that conversation space. And if you don't want to have a conversation about it, you can even just say to your wife, to your partner, to your girlfriend, I want to try out this new thing that I was reading about, right? When you're in the bedroom, I'm going to try
Yes.
it out. Do you want me to
Yes.
tell you what it is before, or do you want me to tell you, like, or not tell you at all? Right. And like, it can just be something really small and see how she responds to it. And if she wants to be told, right, you can say, okay, I'm going to tell it to you, but I want you to know I really want to try this because I think it's going to feel amazing for you. But if you're uncomfortable with it, I get that. But trust me enough, you're in the right hands. I will make this amazing for you. Like, you don't want to give her an out to say, I don't like that, right? So it still has to be something that you're presenting to her and you're leading the way to something exciting that's going to feel really good for her. And you are announcing, it'll make me feel really good if we can try this because I love pleasuring you and I know you're going to like how this feels. Something like that. Again, it's like a baby step
Mhm.
going into that space. And then after it's done, you guys can have a conversation about whether or not she likes that and do you want to try something new or does she have things that she wants to try out? Like it can't just be this big conversation of I wanted I don't know whatever kinky things your
Yeah.
friend wants to do, but sometimes if he's been thinking
Electro
about it for a long
play,
right,
right?
exactly.
Something
It
totally
can be like
crazy.
something so grand and so for somebody who's never been thinking in that direction before, it can feel like such a grand leap
Yeah.
that it could shut it down completely and then make nothing ever happen. So I think in the beginning, it has to be baby steps.
Yes. And I like what you talked about, still being kind of sensitive in the bedroom about
Yeah.
asking for sexy stuff. I think that's such a muscle, just like this is getting told no, for
Yeah.
dates or practicing or saying, hey, there's this thing I want to try. To me, there's this muscle that you have to work to where it doesn't feel like such a crushing thing when your partner's like, I'm not really into it. So I've had a couple of things like this happen lately. Like in the last year or so, I've really been practicing like hand jobs with my husband
Yeah.
because I want to get really good. And sometimes he'll send
Yeah.
me a video and I'm like a scientist. I'm like watching the hand stroke and like there's a special wrist movement. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I got this. I want to practice and see if I can be good at this. And so I remember one day he finally goes, yeah, you're getting pretty good at this. And I was like, what kind of
You're like,
fucking
pretty
compliment is
good.
that? Pretty good? Like,
Pretty good.
still not there. But I
Yeah,
think what he meant to
exactly.
say is like, wow, you're doing it. I like this. And so it's
Yes.
like little things like that. Or like
I know
last
the
night,
little wording like can hit you in the heart. It's kind of, you're like, pretty good. I'm not going to continue doing this. I'm getting pretty
right?
good at
And
this.
like, tell me what you want and how you want it. Like, put your hand over my hand and
Exactly.
like,
Oh,
show
yes.
me how you
I'll
like it
always
because
say to my husband, like, does this feel good? Do you
because
like,
I don't
tell me what
know.
you like. I don't know. It's a job. It's a job. Tell me how to do the job
It's a job.
properly.
Exactly.
Yes.
Last
I don't
night,
want it to be a job. I want it to be a fun job.
exactly. Last night we got at the massage. I got at the massage table, and I was like, "It is all about you. Like I'm gonna do massage. The kids are gone. We have the night all to ourselves." And I put on this playlist. I've never put this on before. It was this music that I liked. I remember seeing like an Instagram reel, and there was this music that was a little churchy, which gave me like bad girl Catholic vibes. And then I was like, "Fuck, this is hot." And so I was like, "I'm gonna play this for him." And we get one or two songs in, and I'm like, why is he not melting under my touch? And I'm like, going with the music. And he goes, babe, is this playlist like really precious to you? Is there any reason that
Yes.
we're listening to this music? Because I'm not
It's not
feeling
doing
it.
it for me. Yeah.
And at
Oh
first I
no,
was
and your
like,
heart
ah,
crushes. You're like, I thought, oh my God. But that, like, everything you're feeling is everything I hear men say all the time. They're like, they thought they were doing all the right things.
yeah.
And then but then it crushes you. But that's exactly what you just said. You have to learn to like roll with it and just be like, okay,
Mhm.
that didn't work. But now you tell me what you would like because I want to mesh that in. But it's really hard to bounce back from that.
Oh
It
my God, I
is.
put on like Peaceful Retreat from Spotify. I'm like, you want
Oh my
fucking
God.
massage therapy vibes, and I'm like dressed like a sexy massage therapist at this point. I'm like, I'll fucking give you if you want to go night night, that's fine. That's what we'll
Yes,
do.
exactly.
And I had bought
Exactly.
him a stroker, which we hadn't had in a while. So I was like, and he knew. I was like, I'm gonna play with you tonight. I'm gonna edge you. You're gonna have so much fun. So then we get to the spa night night music, and like one song, and he's like, give me your phone. And he gets on Spotify and he puts on this playlist I'd never heard. I was like, ooh, and it was
What was
perfect.
it?
It was, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like, I'll put the link below if you guys want it. It was like sensual, sultry. Like that was really the vibe I was going for instead of like dirty church girl music and
Right,
organs.
exactly.
And it was like perfect. And then it ended up being so much fun. Like he got off and then he was like, you get on the massage table. And then he played with me for an hour and 500 orgasms later, we went
Oh
to
my
bed and we
God.
were unconscious. So
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
the muscle, right? Like you just are like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, let's readjust. What do you need? What do you want to
Yeah.
feel
But
tonight?
you have to do that with your partner, right? Because
Mhm.
it can't be just one person driving the ship. When one person's driving the ship, then nothing can
Because then it's
happen.
performative, right? Like
Right. Because
even
then
in
but
sex.
you're guessing too. You're just like, I don't know. Okay, that's not working, but you're not giving me any guide. You're not taking the lead as well. It has to be a joint effort. And I think that is a problem in so many relationships is that it's so uncomfortable for both people to get over that hurdle
Mhm.
of leading, right? So you just become quiet. Something may have happened in the past that told you to be silent. Like I remember even in my first interactions with my husband, he was like all over me all the time, always wanted to have sex. And I hadn't had sex in a year when I met him. I was so nervous about it, having sex because the last person I had sex with, I had just had like a tumultuous, horrible relationship. It killed me. It broke my heart. I was really young as well.
Mhm.
And so I was very slow with sex and very nervous about sex. I didn't want to have sex with somebody. So I was constantly rejecting him. And there wasn't more communication happening about why I was saying no to it. But the excitement to have sex with me went away And then I became more comfortable having sex. And then we fell into this space of sex is nice, but it's not exciting and free and adventurous. It was more contrived. And then it took a long time to get out of that space that we had built together, but I was really driving the ship for that to happen. And then we've progressed moving forward. But I would say it can be, it's challenging. It can be, even for me, like I talk about this all the time. I'm
I
very
know.
comfortable talking about
500
it.
episodes later.
Exactly. But I'm still like, there's still an insecure part of me as a woman.
Yeah.
Right. And there's still an insecure part of him as a man. And we have to navigate that together. And we're great partners. And we're baby stepping towards being even greater. So the bedroom is our next area to tackle. I would
So
love to walk away saying I had
fun.
500 orgasms from an evening, but
Oh, I was
you
just
guys
talking
have-
about pillow princesses this morning, and I was like, I was talking to a friend, and I was like, God, it must feel so fucking good for a man when his woman is like, this is what we're doing, or she takes a bit of control, or
Oh, I'm
she drives
sure.
the scene, or she buys a stroker, or she wears a fun outfit. Like, because I have had enough experience with women that are pillow princesses that are just like, okay, I'm here. I'm ready for you to
Just do it.
ravage
Yeah.
me. In fact, I had sex just like a month or two ago with someone like this, and I was like, fuck, I'm doing all the work. I'm like
Yeah.
sweating over here. This is not fun for
It's not
me.
fun. Exactly. Yeah.
No.
You want a partner.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get that. But sometimes there's little sticky spots in the way that
Yeah.
stops everybody from being able to be as free as they want to be.
Yep. Practice
Yeah.
makes perfect.
It
Yeah.
does. It does. And communication makes better.
Muscle. Marnie, this was freaking amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
this was
you for
great. I had
all
fun
this
with
time that
you.
you gave me. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh. Yeah, I could have talked to you even longer. I want to have you on my
I
podcast.
would love that. That would be so much fun. So, for all of you listening, I'm sure you've fallen in love with Marnie like I have. So, I'm going to give you all of her links below, as well as that sexy ass podcast that Scott used on me and gave me 500 orgasms last night. It might also help get you lucky. And then don't forget, practice makes perfect. Use that muscle. Don't forget to ask for what you want. And if it doesn't work the first time, try again. Right?
Love it. Love it.
All right. All right. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Open Bedroom Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and give us a like and click subscribe below and stay up to date on all the new episodes that we release. If you have a topic that you'd really like more information on, leave us a comment below and we'll see what we can do. Feel free to share this podcast with all of your friends and especially your partners. This is a great way to open up some amazing conversations. We'll see you next week.